Assalamu alaikum. This is Shauruk Mujumdar welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Chief Adviser Professor Muhammad Yunus announces to recover looted weapons before election as proposal to establish 4 new police stations approved. Information and Broadcasting Advisor calls for voting yes in referendum as vote rickshaw inaugurated to motivate voters. Verdict in murder case of 6 including Anas in Chankarpur postponed to January 26th. Russian ambassador discusses bilateral issues as he meets BNP chairman Tariq Rahman. Future Bangladesh to be non-discriminatory, transparent and human state, says Jamaati Amir. Thousands protest against Trump on the streets of Greenland and Denmark as Europe united over Trump's tariff threat. And Sylhet Titans secured a 3-wicket victory over Rangpur Riders in first eliminator of BPL at Sher-e-Bangla National Stadium. Those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. The National Implementation Committee for Administrative Reforms, NICAR, has approved 11 proposals including 4 new police stations. The NICAR gave the approval at the State Guest House Jamuna with Chief Adviser Professor Muhammad Yunus in the chair today, emphasizing the need to recover weapons before the elections. The Chief Adviser said the looted weapons will be recovered as soon as possible. NICAR approved a proposal to form 2 administrative divisions under the Ministry of Finance, namely the Revenue Policy Division and the Revenue Management Division, aimed at enhancing transparency, accountability and efficiency in the government's revenue collection and management system. The meeting also approved a proposal to restructure the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare by merging the Health Services Division and the Health Education and the Family Welfare Division. In addition, a proposal was approved to change the Bangla name of the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs to the Nari o Shishu Montranaloy from Mohila o Shishu Bishoyak Montranaloy. However, the English name of the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, will remain unchanged. The meeting approved to upgrade Shatkira district from a B category district to an A category district. The meeting also approved proposals to establish 3 new police stations: Purbachal North in Gazipur district, Purbachal South in Naranganj district and Matarbari in Cox's Bazar district. Additionally, a proposal was approved to establish another new police station by splitting Raipura in Norshingdi district. After the meeting, Chief Adviser's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam briefed the media at the Foreign Service Academy. At the briefing, Chief Adviser's Deputy Press Secretary Ajat Mujumdar said the work of installing CCTV in vulnerable and highly important centers for the upcoming national elections and referendum is progressing at a rapid pace.
ঠাকুরগাঁ জেলায় ভুল্লি থানার নামের বানান সংশোধন করে ভুল্লি প্রতিস্থাপন করার প্রস্তাব অনুমোদিত হয়েছে। রস্যুকার ছিল ভুল্লি আগেরটার, এখন যেটা হবে দীর্ঘকার। এছাড়াও মিটিংয়ে বেশ কিছু বিষয়ে আলোচনা হয়েছে। সেটাও একটা হচ্ছে যে ঢাকা মেট্রোপলিটন পুলিশ, আপনি জানেন এখন 50টি থানা তাদের আন্ডারে। এটা একটা বিশাল কর্মযজ্ঞ। তাদের এই কাজটাকে কিভাবে আরও সহজতর করা যায় সেই জন্য আজকে ডিসকাশন হয়েছে, কোনো ডিসিশন হয়নি যে কিভাবে ডিএমপিকে ঢাকা উত্তর, ঢাকা দক্ষিণ বা অন্যান্য মানে একটা বা 2টা পার্টে কিভাবে এটাকে আলাদা করা যায়। করলে যেটা হবে যে এখানে কাজের গতি বাড়বে, আইন শৃঙ্খলা পরিস্থিতি আরও ভালোভাবে নিয়ন্ত্রণ করা যাবে। আর চিফ অ্যাডভাইজার আজকের মিটিংয়ে আবার এই নির্বাচনের কথা বলেছেন এবং নির্বাচনের আগে উনি অস্ত্র উদ্ধারের উপর জোর দিয়েছেন। উনি বলেছেন যে লুট করা অস্ত্র যে করেই হোক ইলেকশনের আগে যত দ্রুত পারা যায় এগুলোকে উদ্ধার করতে হবে। জুলাই গণ অভ্যুত্থান অধিদপ্তর গঠনের এটা ভূতাপক্ষ অনুমোদন হয়েছে। আপনারা জানেন জুলাই গণ অভ্যুত্থান হলো, সেই বিষয়ে অলরেডি একটা অধিদপ্তর হয়েছে মুক্তিযোদ্ধা মন্ত্রণালয়ে, সেটা আছে ভূতাপক্ষে অনুমোদন হয়েছে।
6552টা কেন্দ্রে ইতিমধ্যেই সিসিটিভি আছে। বাকি যে কেন্দ্রগুলো আছে সেগুলোতে আপনার সিসিটিভি স্থাপন করা হবে। এর মধ্যে সরকার একটা বিশেষ বরাদ্দ দিয়েছে 71,98,28,000 টাকা। এই টাকাটা ব্যয় হবে মূলত আপনার 21,946টি অতি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ এবং ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ কেন্দ্র, যেগুলো সেখানে এই টাকাটা দিয়ে সিসিটিভি স্থাপন করা হবে। প্রতিটা কেন্দ্রে কমপক্ষে 6টা সিসি ক্যামেরা এই কেন্দ্রগুলোতে থাকবে। এর বাইরে যে কেন্দ্রগুলো আছে সেই কেন্দ্রগুলোতে স্থানীয় প্রশাসনের উদ্যোগে এবং তাদের আর্থিক বরাদ্দের মাধ্যমে সিসিটিভি ক্যামেরা স্থাপন করা হবে। ইতিমধ্যেই এই কার্যক্রম সব জেলায় শুরু হয়ে গিয়েছে এবং অনেক জোরে সোরে চলছে। বেশ কয়েকটা জেলায় শতভাগের কাছাকাছি কেন্দ্রে সিসি ক্যামেরা স্থাপন করা হয়েছে।
Information and Broadcasting Advisor Syed Rizwan Hassan has urged voters to cast a yes vote in the referendum to ensure the implementation of the July Charter, good governance, justice, balance of power, women's empowerment and a stronger parliament. She made the call today while inaugurating the Vote Rickshaw campaign at Radio Colony Model School in Savar, aimed at referendum publicity and voter awareness. Rizwan Hassan said voters should choose their leadership in a way that does not force them to pay a price later for that choice. Addressing the function, Information and Broadcasting Secretary Mahbooba Farzana also called on voters to support the referendum with a yes vote if they want to reject authoritarian rule and build an accountable state government and a better Bangladesh. Director General of Bangladesh Better ASM Jahid and Director General of Department of Mass Communication Abdul Jalil spoke at the event. Ahead of the referendum and the upcoming parliamentary election, the Vote Rickshaw campaign is set to roll out nationwide. The initiative aims to raise voter awareness through election-focused civic activities. As part of the campaign, the rickshaws will tour across the country and screen various public awareness television commercials during their publicity activities. The International Crimes Tribunal has postponed the date for delivering the verdict in the case over the killing of 6 people, including martyr Anas, during the July mass uprising at Shankarpur in the capital. As the verdict is not yet ready, the tribunal has set the next date for the case on January 26th. Tribunal 1, led by Justice Ghulam Murtuja Mujumdar, issued the order today. Earlier, after completing all stages of the judicial proceedings on December 24th, Tribunal 1 had fixed today, January 20th, for the announcement of the verdict. Later, Chief Prosecutor Tajul Islam briefed journalists. He said those who had assumed the role of monsters while in power would be brought to justice and fair justice would be ensured. Meanwhile, in the case over the killing of 28 people during the July mass uprising in Rampura, in the capital, the same tribunal recorded the first day of testimony after the opening statements against 4 accused, including BGB officer Lieutenant Colonel Ridwanul Islam. The chief prosecutor said the next date for testimony in this case has been set for January 25th. On the other hand, at Tribunal 2, the defense presented arguments for the 3rd consecutive day today in the case over the killing of 7 people, including the burning of 6 bodies in Ashulia of Savar during the July mass uprising. In addition, at this tribunal, opening statements and the prosecution's arguments are scheduled to be presented in the case over the killing of Abu Said, a student from Rangpur and the first martyr of the July mass uprising. In the morning, 21 accused arrested in these cases were produced before the tribunal. The election in the Kumula 2 constituency will be held in accordance with the Election Commission's boundaries. Today, the appellate divisions stated the High Court order that had declared the gadget issued by the Election Commission changing the constituency boundaries illegal. Granting leave to appeal against the High Court order, the Appellate Division headed by the Chief Justice passed this order. Senior lawyers Barrister Ahsan Abdullah Siddiq and Barrister Saiful Islam Ujjol argued on behalf of the writ petitioners, while Acting Attorney General Arshadur Rauf represented the Election Commission. On January 8th, the High Court had declared illegal the Election Commission's gadget related to the change of boundaries of the Kumila 2 constituency. At the same time, the court had restored the constituency boundaries to their previous status and directed that a new gadget be published within 24 hours. Subsequently, an application was filed with the Appellate Division against this verdict. Meanwhile, the High Court has fixed for the hearing of a writ challenging the legality of the Election Commission's decision given to BNP candidate Munzirul Ahsan Munshi in Kumila 4 to regain his candidacy. Today, a High Court bench led by Justice Rajiq Al-Jalil set the date for the hearing. Advocate Ahsan Al-Karim, Barrister Hamidul Misbah, and Advocate Saifullah Al-Mamoon argued on behalf of Munzirul Ahsan Munshi, while Barrister Ahsan Abdullah Siddiqui, Advocate Jahirul Islam Musa, and Advocate Mujahidul Islam Shaheen appeared on behalf of Hasnat Abdullah. Russian Ambassador to Dhaka, Alexander Grigorievich Kozin, met with BNP Chairman Tariq Rahman. The meeting took place today at the BNP Chairman's office in Gulshan. BNP Joint Secretary General Humayun Kabir, International Affairs Secretary Rashidul Haq, Press Secretary Saleh Shibli, and Adviser Mahdi Amin were present at the time. During the meeting, both sides discussed bilateral relations and ongoing issues. In addition, ambassadors of the Nordic countries also met with Tariq Rahman. The ambassadors of Norway, Sweden and Denmark paid courtesy meetings with the BNP chairman. They discussed various issues including trade and investment. Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami Amir Dr. Shafiqur Rahman said the future Bangladesh will be a discrimination-free, transparent and human state where the politics of division will not prevail. Rather, hope, healing and national unity will form the core foundation of state governance. He made these remarks while delivering the chief guest speech at Jamaat-e-Islami's Policy Summit 2026 held at a hotel in the capital today. Ahead of the upcoming 13th National Parliamentary election, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami organized the event to discuss principled guidelines for state governance. Ambassadors from various countries, top leaders of political parties, prominent business persons, professionals, academics, and senior media figures participated in the summit. In his address as the chief guest, Dr. Shafiqur Rahman said, Jamaat-e-Islami believes in building a state where a modern market economy will function effectively. The administrative structure will be transparent and accountable, and every citizen, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or gender, will have equal opportunities. He also made it clear that there will be no discrimination against women in social, economic, and political participation. Separate sessions at the summit will be held on key sectors including the economy, education, health, good governance, employment, and social justice. Through these discussions, an outline of a humane, responsible, and accountable state system will be presented. It was stated at the summit that the day-long event plans to formulate policy recommendations through expert paper presentations, panel discussions, and exchanges of views. Now, international news. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nilsson has warned that Greenland will not bow to pressure from US President Donald Trump over his threat to impose tariffs. In a Facebook post on Monday, Nelson made it clear that Greenland will not change its position under pressure. Welcoming support from other countries, he wrote, "This is a clear recognition that Greenland is a democratic society and that we have the right to make our own decisions." He added, "None of the recent statements from the United States, including the threat of tariffs, will change this position. We will not allow ourselves to be pressured. We remain committed to dialogue, respect, and international law." Donald Trump recently threatened that the United States should impose a 10% tariff on NATO allies that oppose U.S. control over Greenland. If that fails to work, the tariff will be increased to 25% by June. Many European leaders have described Trump's move as blackmail. However, Trump says he will implement the tariffs 100%. Trump has also linked his threat to take over Greenland with not receiving the Nobel Prize. In a message to Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre on Monday, Trump wrote, "Since your country did not give me the Nobel Peace Prize even after I stopped more than 8 wars, I'm no longer obliged to think only about peace. Now I'll think about what is right and appropriate for the United States." Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has acknowledged that several thousand people have been killed in the nationwide protests that have swept the country since late December 2025. The unrest, which began in Tehran over economic grievance and a plummeting currency, rapidly evolved into a broader anti-government movement across major cities and rural provinces. In his televised address, the Supreme Leader attributed the massive loss of life to foreign enemies, specifically accusing the United States and Israel of orchestrating the violence. Those linked to Israel and the US caused massive damage and killed several thousands, Khamenei stated, framing the protesters not as citizens with grievances, but as mercenaries and terrorists armed by foreign intelligence agencies. The human rights activists' news agency noted that while over 4,000 deaths are confirmed, thousands more are still under investigation. Most of the fatalities are reported to have occurred in the Kurdish-populated regions of northwestern Iran, while the crackdown has been most intense. Back to national news. Bangladesh Btv-Chattogram Center has organized an outdoor community broadcast program to raise public awareness about the upcoming 13th National Parliamentary Election and referendum, in collaboration with the Chattogram District Administration. The program, titled Bangladesh Better in the Referendum and Election, was held today at DC Hill in the city with Chattogram Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin present as the chief guest. The event was presided over by Bangladesh Better Additional Director General News Muhammad Shariful Kadir, Additional Inspector General of Police and GIG of Chattogram Range Muhammad Ahsan Habib Polash, Chattogram Deputy Commissioner Muhammad Jahidul Islam Mia, and Regional Election Officer of Chattogram Muhammad Belayat Hussain were present as special guests, while Chattogram Better Director Muhammad Mahfuzul Haq delivered the welcome address in the program. After the discussions, a cultural program was performed by artists of Bangladesh Better Chattogram.